the conditional statements and the converse. That is the concept which we have to study today. Students, here the conditional statement. Which statement is called as conditional statement? That is very important. The statements which are written in the form if they are called as conditional statements. The statements which are written in the form if then or in the if then form are called as conditional statements. If that statements having if and then, these two words in that statement, then that statement is called as conditional statement. Now here we will write the statements, which are in the if then form, which are in the if then form, which are in the if then form are called as conditional statements. Are called as conditional statements. If we have if and then, these two words in the given statement, then that statement is called as conditional statement. Now here we will take an example. For example, the diagonals of a rectangle, are congruent. The diagonals of the rectangle are congruent. It is simple statement. The diagonals of rectangle are congruent. There is no if, there is no then in the given statement. So it is not the conditional statement, but we can write it into the conditional statement. How we can convert it into the conditional statement? We have to use the words if and then. So this is the simple statement. The diagonals of rectangle are congruent is the simple statement. Now we have to write the conditional statement. Here we have to write the conditional statement. And what should be the conditional statement? If a quadrilateral is a rectangle, if a quadrilateral is a rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. Now this statement is called as conditional statement. Here the statement, if a quadrilateral is rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. It is conditional statement. Here we have conditional statement. This is the simple statement. Since if and then are not included in that statement, that is the simple statement. And we convert it into the conditional statement. Now which statement is called as conditional statement? We already studied that the statements which are in the if then form are called as conditional statements. If and then, these two words are included in the statement, then that statement is called as conditional statement. Here this statement, if a quadrilateral is rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. It is the conditional statement. It is too easy. If the two words if and then are included in the statement, then that statement is called as conditional statement. Now, in this conditional statement, we have to study two more sub concepts. We can say it as first one is antecedent. First one is antecedent. The statement followed by if. The statement followed by if. The statement followed by the statement followed by if is called as antecedent. Is called as antecedent. The statement which is followed by if. The statement which is followed by if. See this conditional statement we have here, the part after if. The part after if, that is called as antecedent. We can say it as given information also. We can say it as given information also. Antecedent is nothing but that is the given information. Here we have a conditional statement. If a quadrilateral is rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. Here the statement followed by if. The statement here followed by the word if, that is called as antecedent. That is called as antecedent. So a quadrilateral is rectangle. A quadrilateral is rectangle, that is the antecedent. We can call it as given information also. This is the given information. A quadrilateral is rectangle, that is the given information, or it is also called as antecedent. The statement followed by if is called as antecedent, or you can say it as given information also. And the next part we have, that is consequent. The next part we have, that is consequent. Now what is consequent? The statement followed by then. The statement followed by the word then. Here we have word then, and this is the statement followed by the word then. This is the statement followed by the word then, and it is called as consequent. This statement is called as consequent. You can say it as the part which we have to prove, that is called as consequent. The part which we have to prove, that is called as consequent. While simplifying the theorem, we have to use this information. So the first and most important information is antecedent. The statement followed by if is called as antecedent, and the statement followed by then. The statement followed by then. The statement followed by then is called as consequent. Is called as consequent. The statement which is followed by if, it is called as antecedent. It is also called as given information. And the statement which is followed by then. See this statement, the diagonals are congruent. This is a statement, and this statement is followed by then. Since it is called as consequent, and this statement, a quadrilateral is rectangle. A quadrilateral is rectangle. This statement is called as antecedent, which is also known as given information. This is given information, and this is to prove. This is to prove. What we have to prove, that is followed by then. And the given information is followed by if. It is also called as antecedent and consequent. These two are the most important terms. It is very important while solving the theorems. So we have to remember these words and their meanings also. Antecedent is nothing but that is the given information. The statement followed by if is called as antecedent, and the statement followed by then, it is called as consequent. So in this statement, see we have conditional statement here. In this statement, a quadrilateral is rectangle, that is called as antecedent, since it is followed by if. And in this conditional statement, the diagonals are congruent, that is called as consequent, since it is followed by then. after then whatever the information we have, that is called as consequent. And after if, whatever the information we have available after if and before then, that is called as antecedent, or it is also called as given information. And then we have the next concept, that is converse. This is all about the conditional statements. The concept which we have to study, that is conditional statement and converse. Here we have this much part is of conditional statement. See, the statement which are in the if then form are called as conditional statements. Here we take an example. This is the simple statement. The diagonals of rectangle are congruent. That is the simple statement. And we write it into the conditional form, conditional statement form. If a quadrilateral is a rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. It is conditional statement. Now, in this conditional statement, antecedent. What is antecedent? The statement followed by the word if. The statement followed by the word if is called as antecedent, and the statement followed by the word then, it is called as consequent. Now we have to study the next term, that is converse. What is converse, that we have to study here? Converse. Here the converse conditional statement, if we have given the conditional statement and in that conditional statement the antecedent and consequence are gets interchanged, then it is called as converse. If the antecedent and consequence from the conditional statements are interchanged, then that new statement is called as converse. If antecedent and consequent, if antecedent and consequent, if the antecedent and consequent from the conditional statement, from the conditional statement from the conditional statements are interchanged, then that statement is called as converse. Then it is called as converse. Then it is called as converse. It is too easy. Just the antecedent and the consequence gets interchanged, then that statement is called as converse. Since our concept is conditional statement and converse, we studied about the conditional statement. In that conditional statement, we studied antecedent and consequent, and this is very important part. Since if we interchange the antecedent and consequent, then that statement is called as converse. Here this is the simple statement. We convert it into the conditional statement. This is the simple statement and we write it into the conditional statement form. And now if we interchange antecedent and consequent, the statement which is followed by if, we have to write that statement after then, and the statement which is followed by then, that we have to write after if. Then the statement which we will get, that statement is called as converse. Just we have to interchange the antecedent and consequent. In simple language काय करायचं आपल्याला, if नंतरचा जो भाग आहे तो then नंतर आणि then नंतरचा जो भाग आहे तो if नंतर लिहायचा आहे. फक्त इंटरचेंज करायचं. हा जो स्टेटमेंट आहे त्याच्या जागेवर लिहायचा then नंतर, आणि then नंतरचा जो पार्ट आहे तो if नंतर लिहायचा आहे, आणि मग जे स्टेटमेंट आपल्याला मिळेल that is called as converse of the given conditional statement. Now this is the conditional statement. We will write the converse of this conditional statement. For example, we have the conditional statement here, and now we will write the converse of the same statement. So here whatever the part after then we have to write, that is after if, and the statement followed by if that we have to write after then, it means that we have to interchange the antecedent and consequent. It is very simple. Antecedent आणि consequent interchange करायचे. Antecedent च्या जागेवर consequent only we have to interchange this statement. If as it is आहे तसंच राहणार. फक्त if नंतर जो भाग इथं आलेला आहे तो then नंतर राहायचा. then जागेवरच राहणार. आणि then नंतर जो आलेला स्टेटमेंट आहे तो आपल्याला if नंतर लिहायचा आहे. So here we will write if. Now what we have to write after if? We have to write after if this part, the diagonals are congruent. If the diagonals are congruent, if the diagonals are congruent, then if the diagonals are congruent, then now after then what we have to write? After then we have to write whatever is there after if. If नंतरचा जो भाग आहे तो then नंतर लिहायचा आहे. Then a quadrilateral is rectangle. Then that quadrilateral is rectangle. Then that quadrilateral is rectangle. It is too easy and too important. It is too easy and too important. Here we have less mathematics and more English. Here we have less mathematics and the statements which we have to use here, all the statements are the mathematical statements. Mathematical properties we have to use there. But how to convert the simple statement into the form if then, how to convert this conditional statement into the converse, that all these things we have to remember carefully. And here we are studying the converse. What is the converse? If the antecedent and the consequence gets interchanged, then that statement is called as converse. And here we write an example. We have given the conditional statement here, and we change the antecedent and consequent, and we get the converse here. See, if this is conditional statement, then this is the converse of that statement. Or you can directly say that this is the simple statement and the converse of this simple statement is this. It is very important. Sometimes we have given the simple statement and the question is write the converse of the given statement. So first of all we have to convert this simple statement into the conditional statement first. And then interchanging the antecedent and consequent we have to write in the converse. So this is very important part. The concept is very important, and here we have one more property, that see this is the conditional statement. This is the conditional statement, and if we write the converse of it, it is not necessary that the converse of each and every conditional statement should be true. It is not necessary that the converse of the given conditional statement is always true. जर एखादं कंडिशनल स्टेटमेंट आपल्याला दिलेलं असेल, ते स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट असेल, ते स्टेटमेंट योग्य असेल, बट आपण जर त्याचा कॉन्व्हर्स लिहिला तर तो कॉन्व्हर्स करेक्ट असेलच असं नाही. समटाइम्स तो रॉंग पण असू शकतो, समटाइम्स तो रॉंग सुद्धा असू शकतो. आता इथं कंडिशनल स्टेटमेंट तर ते करेक्ट असणं आवश्यकच आहे, परंतु त्याला कॉन्व्हर्स मध्ये लिहिलं तर लिहिलेले जे स्टेटमेंट आहे ते करेक्ट असेलच असं नाही. That we have to remember carefully. The conditional statement is always correct, but the converse of that conditional statement is always not correct. म्हणजे असं कंपल्सरी नाही की आपण एखाद्या स्टेटमेंटचा कॉन्वर्स दिला म्हणजे तो करेक्टच असला पाहिजे. समटाइम्स तो रॉंग पण असू शकतो, आपल्याला त्याच्याशी घेणे घेणं नाही. कॉन्वर्स काय म्हटलं की आपण कॉन्वर्स लिहायचं, बट समटाइम्स तो रॉंग पण असू शकतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल वी टेक एन एक्झाम्पल. Every prime number, if a number is prime, then it is even or odd. If a number is prime, why we are taking this example? we are taking that example for the concept which we studied now. What concept we studied here? Each and every time the converse is not correct. See, we have given the conditional statement, but it is not necessary that if we write the converse of this conditional statement, that should be correct, that should be true. That is not compulsory. Sometimes it may be wrong. So how it will become wrong? Then how it will become wrong? We will take an example here. If a number is prime, if a number is prime, if a number is prime, then it is even or odd. Then it is even or odd. Suppose a number we have given, and that is prime number. If a number is prime, if a number is prime, then it is either even or odd. जर एखादा नंबर प्राइम असेल तर तो इवन किंवा ऑड असतो असं स्टेटमेंट आपल्याला दिलेलं आहे. दिस इज कंडिशनल स्टेटमेंट सिन्स वी हॅव इफ and then two words included in that statement since it is conditional statement. And now we have to write the converse of it. We will write the converse of this statement. This is conditional statement. This is conditional statement, and now we will write the converse of this statement. We have to write the converse of this statement. What should be the converse of this statement? Here we write if. And now after if, what we have to write? The part which is after then. Here we write if a number is even or odd. If a number is even or odd, then it is prime number. Then it is prime. And now this statement is the converse is correct. The converse which we write, that is correct. But this statement is false. This statement is false. What it suggests? If a number is even or odd, then it is prime. Now 6 is even number. Is it prime? No. 9 is odd number. Is it prime? No. See, this is the conditional statement. It is true statement. We write the converse of that conditional statement, but the converse which we write here, that is meaningless or that is false. The converse is correct, but the meaning of that converse is not correct. That is false. That is wrong. So we have to think about it carefully. It is not necessary that the converse is true each and every time. It is not necessary that the converse of the conditional statement is not always true. प्रत्येक वेळी आपण लिहिलेला जो कॉन्व्हर्स आहे तो ट्रू असेलच असं नाही. आता आपण जे स्टेटमेंट लिहिले कॉन्व्हर्स लिहिले दॅट इज करेक्ट. स्टेटमेंट मध्ये काहीच रॉंग नाही. जे इफ नंतर होतं ते आपण दे नंतर लिहिले, जे दे नंतर होतं ते इफ नंतर लिहिलेले. आता काही स्टुडंट्सला असं अपेक्षित असतं की इथं दे नंतर काय आलं, इट इज इवन ऑर ऑड. मग त्यांना असं अपेक्षित असतं की आपण हे ॲज इट इज लिहावं इथे, पण ते ॲज इट इज लिहिल्यानंतर बऱ्याचशा वेळा मिनिंगलेस होतं किंवा ते योग्य वाटत नाही. मिनिंग बदलला नाही पाहिजे आणि स्टेटमेंट मात्र करेक्ट असलं पाहिजे. सो वी राईट हियर इफ अ नंबर इज इवन ऑर ऑड, इट इज युज्ड फॉर दिस, इट इज युज्ड फॉर number. So here we write if a number, in place of it we write a number. If a number is even or odd, since writing if it is even or odd, we use it for this number. So we write here if a number is even or odd, then it is prime, or you can write as it is prime number. Then it is prime number. So this is all about the conditional statement and its converse. Once again, I am repeating, this is very important part. Since while proving the theorems and properties, we have to use all these things. and it is very important. We can say it as the soul of geometry. If you have to study geometry carefully, then it is very important to simplify a theorem or to prove the theorem or to prove the property. And while proving the theorem or property, we have to use these concepts, that is antecedent, we should know, consequent, we should know, how to write the converse of the given statement, that we should know. That is very important. This is simple statement. This is conditional statement. Since if and then are included between these statements, this statement is conditional statement, and we convert it into the converse. See, this is converse. When the antecedent and consequence are gets interchanged at that time, that statement is called as converse. Here we take only one example, and that same example we use everywhere. So it will become easy to study this concept or to remember this concept, and this concept is very important. Now afterwards we have to study the proofs. After this we have to study the next concept, that is proofs. Now what is exactly proof that we have to study here? Actually students, in this standard we have to study this subject geometry using a different point of view, which is established by great mathematician Euclid, which is established. We have to study here geometry in the 9th standard by using a different view, and that different view is established by a great mathematician, that is Euclid, who lived in the 3rd century before Christian era. Now here the first concept we have, that is postulates. What is postulates? Postulates are the self-evident geometrical statements. Postulates are nothing but they are self-evident geometrical statements are called postulates. The statements which are self-evident, we cannot prove them, those statements are called as postulates. असे statements जे आपण सिद्ध करू शकत नाहीत किंवा जे सेल्फ एव्हिडेंट असतात असं म्हणा, म्हणजे स्वतःच ते सिद्ध असतात, त्यांना सिद्ध करण्याची आवश्यकता नसते, अशा स्टेटमेंट्सला आपण पोस्टुलेट्स, इन मराठी आपण त्यांना गृहीतक असं म्हणतो. काही गोष्टी आपल्याला गृहीत धराव्या लागतात तेव्हा आपल्याला काही थेरम्स प्रूव्ह करता येतात. So here postulates is nothing but that is the self-evident geometrical statements are called as postulates. And here we have some Euclid's postulates. I already told you the mathematician, famous great mathematician, that is Euclid, and here we have given some postulates of Euclid, out of which the first one is there are infinite lines passing through a point. There are infinite lines passing through a point. If we take a point and if we draw the lines passing through that point, then we are able to draw the infinite lines passing through that point. So here there are infinite, that is the first postulate, that is very easy and it is too simple. There are infinite lines passing through a point. We can draw infinite lines passing through a point. Then we have second statement. There is one and only one line passing through the 2 points. Sometimes students get fumble. काही विद्यार्थी गोंधळून जातात. कसे गोंधळून जातात? इथं असं सांगितलंय की there are infinite lines passing through a point. एकच पॉइंट आपल्याकडे असेल सिंगल, तर त्यामधून जाणाऱ्या इनफायनाइट लाईन्स आपल्याला ड्रॉ करता येतात. आणि आता काही स्टुडंटच्या डोक्यात असं असतं देयर इज वन अँड ओनली वन लाईन पासिंग थ्रू द 2 पॉइंट्स. हे कसं पॉसिबल? एक पॉइंट होता आपल्याकडे, त्यावेळेस आपण इनफायनाइट लाईन्स त्यामधून जाणारा ड्रॉ करू शकत होतो. आता तर आपल्याकडे 2 पॉइंट्स आहेत, मग 2 पॉइंट्स मधून जाणाऱ्या 2 इनफायनाइट लाईन्स आपल्याला काढता आल्या पाहिजेत, असंही काही स्टुडंटच्या डोक्यात असतं. but actually if we take the 2 points here, this is one point and this is another point, then we can draw one and only one line passing through these points. So these are the points P and Q. So from these 2 points P and Q, we can draw one and only one line. We cannot draw the infinite lines, but through a point we can draw infinite lines. Through a point, see this is a point, and now here we can draw infinite lines passing through a point. We can draw infinite lines passing through a point. We cannot count the number of lines passing through a point since there are infinite lines passing through a point, since it is a self-evident statement. Since it is self-evident statement, it is called as postulate. All these are the self-evident statements of Euclid. We have third postulate. A circle of given radius can be drawn taking any point as its center. Now here, anywhere we can take a point. Anywhere in this plane, on this board, we can take a point anywhere, and using that point as center of the circle, we can draw a circle of the given radius. Suppose the radius is given 2.3 cm. Now you can take that much distance in the compass and you can put your compass anywhere on any point and you can draw a circle. Then we have fourth postulate, that is all right angles are congruent with each other. Since each and every right angle measures 90 degree. Since each and every right angle measures 90 degree, all the right angles are congruent with each other. We know that when two angles are congruent if their measurements are equal, and here it is given that all right angle means having measurement 90 degree, are congruent with each other. And this is most important postulate, fifth postulate. Here it is given that if two interior angles form on a side of transversal, if two interior angles are formed on a side of transversal of two lines, add up to less than two right angles. Add up to less than two right angles. Two right angle means 180 degree. Two right angles, 90 plus 90, that is 180. Add up to less than 180 degree. Then the lines produced in that direction intersect each other. Now for example, suppose here we have given the two lines and we have a transversal of these two lines. Now these two angles, this angle and this angle, these two angles are called as interior angles, which are at a side of a transversal. एकाच साइड ला आहे, एक तर राइट साइड ला असतील किंवा लेफ्ट साइड ला असतील. If two interior angles formed on a side of transversal, this is transversal and this is right side of the transversal. This is right side of the transversal. Both the interior angles are made to the right side, or we can take both the right angles to the left side. Here both the interior angles, not right angles, both the interior angles are at the same side. आता इथं काय होतं, वन साइड घेतले, ऑन अ साइड घेतल्या म्हणून ऑन दी सेम साइड असं म्हटलं तर आणखी समजण्यासाठी ते सोयीस्कर होतं. इफ टू इंटेरियर अँगल्स फॉर्म ऑन दी सेम साइड ऑफ ट्रान्सव्हर्सल ऑफ टू लाइन्स add up to less than two right angles, then the lines produced in that direction intersect each other. Now here, if the sum of these two interior angles is less than 180 degree, is less than 180 degree, the sum is less than 180 degree. Here the sum is less than 180 degree. Sum of these two angles, it is less than 180 degree. If the sum of the two angles is less than 180 degree, then the lines produced in that direction intersect each other. जर ह्या दोन इंटेरियर अँगल्सची सम लेस दॅन 180 येत असेल आणि अशा वेळेस जर आपण ह्या दोन लाईन पुढे प्रोड्यूस केल्या, पुढे आणखी वाढवल्या, तर त्या लाईन्स एकमेकींना इंटरसेक्ट होतात असे इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्याकडे अवेलेबल आहे. Once again we will read that postulate. If two interior angles formed on the same side of transversal, this is transversal of these two lines. This is transversal of these two lines, and these two are the interior angles made on the same side. Now, if the sum of these two interior angles is less than 180 degree, then the lines produced in that direction. The lines produced in that direction. In which direction the angles are there? Angles right side line. Right side ला ज्या lines आपल्याला increase कराव्या लागतील आणि जर त्या लाईन आपण increase केल्या किंवा produce केल्या तर त्या लाईन्स एकमेकींना कुठे ना कुठे इंटरसेक्ट होतात. If two interior angles formed on a formed on the same side of transversal of two lines add up to less than two right angles, then the lines produced in that direction intersect each other. So this is all about the postulates. Euclid's postulate. We have given the 5 postulate of Euclid's here, and now next we have theorems. Main part, that is remaining proofs. The main concept is proof. Here we study the postulate. Postulate is nothing but that is self-evident geometrical statement is called as postulate. Here we studied some Euclid's postulate, and now here we have to study the theorem. Theorem. What is theorem? The statement which is proved logically. The logically proved statement. The logically proved statement. The logically proved statement is called as theorem. The logically proved statement is called as theorem. Using these postulates, if logically we proved a statement, then that statement is called as theorem. For example, the sum of the measurement of all the three angles of triangle is 180 degree. The sum of the measurement of all the angles of the triangle is 180 degree. If we have to prove that statement, we have to prove that statement logically. The logically proved statement is called as theorem. These statements we cannot prove. They are self-evident. But the theorem, the statement of the theorem is not the self-evident. We have to prove that statement logically. Using some logics, we have to prove that statement, and that statement which is logically proved, that is called as theorem. The logically proved statement is called as theorem. The statements which are proved by logically using the logic, they are called as theorem. That statement is called as theorem. And now, while solving this theorem, the logical argument made, whatever the logical argument is made there, written there, that is called as proof. What is proof? Proof is nothing but the logical argument. The logical argument. The logical argument is called as proof. The logical argument is called as proof. Whatever the logical argument we made, that logical argument is called as proof. It is very important. First, postulate, that is self-evident geometrical statement. Then theorem, it is logically proved statement which is called as theorem. Theorem is nothing but that is the statement which is logically proved. And this logical argument, for proving a statement, if we make the logical argument, then that logical argument is called as proof. And here we have two types of proof. There are two types of proof. There are two types of proof. Number one, direct proof, and number two, indirect proof. There are two types of proof. First one is direct proof and second one is indirect proof. So this is all about the proofs. Now we will take two theorems. We will simplify one theorem by direct method by using direct proof, and second theorem we will solve by using indirect proof or by using indirect method. So this is all about the proofs. This is all about the proofs. Now after this concept we will solve two theorems. We will solve one theorem by using the direct method and another theorem by using the indirect method. We will take these theorems in the next video lecture. Thank you.